we discussed about how we can deal with JavaScript related integrations. We learned about JavaScript integrations, means in what are the various methods of integrating JavaScript into page. So one is JavaScript can be defined inline. Second, JavaScript can be defined embedded. So these two techniques we learned, and what is difference between these two techniques? Inline means inline technique, it is faster. We can write the script within the tag, and reusability issues are there. We cannot reuse the script that is defined inline. If you want to reuse, you can go with what? Embedded. Embedded means the script is kept in the head or body section. By using a script container, we can do that. Yesterday we learned that. Next important here is when you are working with embedded, some questions I given you. Where to embed? In head or in body? Head or body. This point I told you already. So we discussed the answer for this. So we have to when to keep in head section. When we want the script to load into memory, and from the memory, if we want to use across page, then we have to do with a head section. When to keep in the body section? When we want the script to execute directly at the time of loading the page, then you have to define in which place? Body. So in head section and in body section, that is how it is managed. Now the point is, technically, when you are dealing with head and body section, one more question here is, you have to know what is the MIME type of script. This is another important. What is the MIME type for script? Actually, MIME type is very much important because when you are using JavaScript, you have to exactly tell the browser how it should able to handle this JavaScript. Means I told you already that JavaScript is used by various browsers, and JavaScript is used with various compiling techniques. That means actually, what is the point here is, JavaScript is used in various compiling techniques, is used in various methods. So what are the various methods? Interpreted, already I told you. And what is it? Compiled. We can use interpreted and we can use compiled. JavaScript can be used interpreted or compiled. When you are using interpreted or compiled, point is, you have to tell the browser what type of compiling or what it is compiling, which compiler it have to use. All such options are required. So here the point is, if your JavaScript is used with HTML in browser, then MIME type. So MIME type is defined as we have to define the MIME type as text/JavaScript. That is how we need to define. That is the MIME type. Actually, what is the meaning of MIME? The meaning of MIME is, I hope you know in HTML itself, multi-purpose internet mail extensions. Internet mail extensions. This is a very common concept in HTML. When you learned HTML, if anybody asked you what type of images we can keep in a website, images are so many types. What type of images are supported on web? That means, so we have to tell the MIME types. .jpg, .png, these are not MIME types. These are extensions. Extension is different, MIME type is different. What is difference between extension and MIME type is, under one MIME type, there will be several extensions. For example, how to access, suppose you say MS Excel. How to access MS Excel files? MS Excel files may have extension .xls. They may have extension like .xlsx. They may have extension like .csv. These are all Excel extensions only. There are more than 20 extensions for Excel. As a developer, if you want to access all Excel files, will you use 20 extensions? No. We use a MIME type that can access all 20 extensions. And that MIME type usually will be, so the MIME type will be like application / MS Excel, like that. For example, suppose images. You know images actually .jpg, .jpeg, .jfif. All these belong to one family only. All these belong to one family only. And they all belong to a family. MIME type is image / JPEG. They all belong to a family called JPEG. But extensions are different. JPG, JPEG, JFIF, all these are extensions. So, under one MIME type, there will be several extensions. Under one MIME type, there will be several extensions. So, if you have a lot of extensions under one MIME type, this is important. That means now the point is, you are using JavaScript, but JavaScript can be used in several ways. With compiler, with interpreter. What this text JavaScript indicates, this text JavaScript indicates you are using with interpreter. With interpreted. You are using with interpreted. Text JavaScript indicates that you are using with interpreted. Usually when you are using in a browser with HTML, it is interpreted. But in several technologies, we don't use interpreted. In several technologies, we use JavaScript with module system. We use JavaScript with compilers. Then what we do is we write like this, text / Babel. That means this is the JavaScript which need to be compiled and processed by a compiler called Babel. Already I told you, Babel is a JavaScript compiler. Remember? That means this is when JavaScript is used with Babel compiler. So when you are using JavaScript with other technologies like React and all, then their JavaScript need to be processed by Babel. Then you have to mention the type as what? Babel. If you mention the type as JavaScript, it cannot recognize. So like that, there are so many MIME types, text / module. So that means it indicates JavaScript module system. What is a module system? Later you will learn. In OOP concepts you will learn. There are so many JavaScript module systems, you will understand that. So when you write JavaScript, it is very important to tell the MIME type. And if you are writing JavaScript with HTML, then one MIME type is enough. What is that MIME type? Text/JavaScript. Other MIME types you need in different situations. You will come across with different situations later. So how do we write the MIME type? When you write a script, you have to define script type is equal to text/what? JavaScript. That is how we need to define the script. Or you can write script type is equal to text/what Babel. Like this we can define. Okay, so here we have the MIME types defined for different purpose of JavaScript used in our pages. So if you are using JavaScript in a different situations, it is very important to mention the MIME type. If you miss the MIME type, then it is unable to handle your JavaScript. As of now, it may work because you are using with HTML, and with HTML JavaScript default MIME type it will take as text JavaScript. But later if you are using some compiling related environment or module related environment, your JavaScript will not work until or unless you exactly mention the type. So it is always a good habit to mention the MIME type. So whenever you write JavaScript, always mention the MIME type. So example is like this. Let's go to our project. So in our project here, we are defining. This is our JavaScript project. And yesterday we written a simple embedded script. So when you are writing embedded script here, so let's keep an embedded script. Means how do we write the embedded script? Example I given here. This is the page, and here we have JavaScript embedded, something like this. And here we are adding a button, and the button is print. On print click, that means on click, we have to write print page. This must execute, and in the head section we are writing a script. And what is the function print page? What it have to do? Window.print. This example I given yesterday. Now here when you write script, you have to mention the type. You have to mention the type. Type as what? Text/JavaScript. This is important. So whenever you are writing the script, you have to define this. So if you don't write this, as of now it will work, because by default you are using interpreted. But later it will not work, because later you are going to work with compilers, you are going to work with modules, and browsers can't recognize them, and browsers cannot use them. That situation you will see that, right? So what is the MIME type and why we need to define the MIME type? That is important. So whenever you are writing script, first make sure where you are keeping the script. Is it embedded or is it in the body? Is it in the head or in the body? You can embed in the head or you can embed in the body. Second, make sure that you mention the MIME types. MIME type is JavaScript or module or Babel, which MIME type you are using. Next, another important point whenever you are writing JavaScript, another question asked in interviews, what is strict mode for JavaScript? What is strict mode for JavaScript? This is another important. So actually, JavaScript is not implicitly strictly typed. It is not implicitly strictly typed. That means already yesterday I explained this point. I told you JavaScript have two issues major, not strongly typed, not strictly typed. What is difference between strongly typed and strictly typed? Remember yesterday I told you about the difference. It is out of 199 interviews, this question will ask. They will ask this question. What is strongly typed? What is strictly typed? Means type. No. I am saying that what is the purpose? That means don't explain answers. First thing, in interviews, never try to explain answer with an example. Always use only technical words to answer. Right? Because keep this in mind in interviews. If you try to explain any answer with an example, interviewer will pick questions from that explanation. That means you will say like this, I will declare like that, I will write like this, I will define. Then he will ask why you will write like that. Again, some questions he will pick from the explanation. So you will mess up your interview if you start explaining answers. So never try to explain an answer in interview. Just try to answer the question with technical term. Then you will be correct because you used the correct technical term, and interviewer is satisfied because answer is correct. And interviewer will not go into the concept until or unless he is willing to. Otherwise, he will say, okay, next question, because he got the answer. So never try to explain answers with examples until or unless he asked us to give an example. Technical words only, remember. Yesterday, I told you one technical word. What is it? Strongly typed means it is about data type. Strongly typed is about data type. And strictly typed is about the rules and standards. Understood? So strictly typed is about programming rules and standards. Strongly typed is about data type. These are the technical terms. So that means JavaScript is not implicitly strictly typed. That means actually it will not follow. So follow programming rules and standards. It will not follow programming rules and standards. So you have to manually turn on strict mode. You have to manually turn on strict mode. If a strict mode is on, then developer have to write JavaScript as per standards. That means here the point is if strict mode is on, then developer have to write as per standards. Otherwise, it will not work. For example, see here, whenever you are writing JavaScript, for example, I will add one more page here, demo, just for your example, I'm writing a script. In this script, x equal to 10. And I am printing this x. Don't worry, just see the point. So you see, I am printing the value of x. Remember, all these you are going to learn what is document write and everything I will explain, right? As of now, just see the concept. You can see it is working. As per programming standards, x is a variable. And a variable is assigned with a value, and variable is never declared. In any computer programming language, if you do this, it will show error. It will say that what is x? X is not defined and how you are using it. But in JavaScript, it is not a problem. It is working fine. That means it is not following standards. Then lot of code inconsistency will come. That means one person will write with variable declared, another person will write without declare. So how do I know whether declared or not? That is the reason we ask our developers to write JavaScript always in strict mode. How to write JavaScript always in strict mode? So for that, actually, you can turn on strict mode by using use strict by using use strict. So use strict in your code snippet. Code snippet means code block. In your code snippets means code blocks. In software programming, code blocks are called as code snippets. That means a start and end of the code snippet. That means now what you have to do is, here at the top in the beginning, in the script, you have to use the word use strict. This is always recommended. So whenever anybody is writing JavaScript, we recommend this. We say that turn on strict mode and write. And when you turn on strict mode, use strict. Use strict is to turn on the strict mode. When you turn on strict mode, now JavaScript will not allow to violate the standards, violate the rules. That means now developer have to write as per rules. So now you see, now when I run this, it's not working now. It's not running. If you want to check what is the problem in JavaScript, then open developer tools. That means right click. In the page, go to inspect. In the inspect, you go to console. You can see there is console. Console is the location where it will show errors. So now it is showing errors. So reference error X is not defined. Now the point is, now it is good. It is very fine. If strict mode is not defined, strict mode is not on, then it is very fine. No problem. It is executing it. I'll run this here. And you can see it is executing. There is no problem. That means it is executing. There is no issue at all. I turned off strict mode. I turn on the strict mode and now it will show an error. It shows a problem. So it is always important to turn on the strict mode and write the logic. So always we recommend in real world environment our developers to keep strict mode on. So that is important. So you need to know how to set the strict mode, right? So this is actually example for that. So this is an example. When you write like this, then this is invalid. Why it is invalid? X is not defined. So it is actually valid if it is valid when you remove the strict mode. When you remove the strict mode. So that means it is valid if strict is off. Strict is off. If strict is off, it is valid. If strict is on, then it is not valid. So that means you need to first verify whether the strict mode is on or off. Off means nothing but you don't write use strict, it is off. You write use strict, then it is on. It is on. So these are important points. So while writing JavaScript, you have to know about MIME type and you have to know about the strict mode. Remember, these are not required when you are writing JavaScript inline. When you are writing JavaScript inline, this is not a concern. So that means now there will be no strict mode for JavaScript. There will be no MIME type for JavaScript if you are writing inline. This concept comes only when you are writing JavaScript embedded, or when you are writing JavaScript in external file. External file, I will tell you, we will see that. So two techniques you learned, JavaScript inline and JavaScript embedded. What you learned extra in embedded? You learned what is the MIME type, how to define the MIME type. Second, how to turn on strict mode and what is strict mode. Another question in interviews, and you should know as a developer at real world, is how to target JavaScript. How to target JavaScript for legacy browsers. How to target JavaScript for legacy browsers. Legacy browsers means actually legacy are old version browsers. Old version browsers are legacy browsers. In software development, in web designing, we have two types of browsers classified: modern browsers and legacy browsers. Modern browsers means they can handle latest versions of web technologies. Legacy browsers means they can't handle latest versions. They can deal with only old versions. Some new features are not supported. That's the reason Internet Explorer is dead now. It is a very legacy type. It is no longer. That means officially Internet Explorer dead. Still many people may be using it, but it is officially dead because as per the standards, it will not support the new features of modern web. That is the reason Microsoft killed Internet Explorer. No more Internet Explorer. So officially Microsoft made Internet Explorer dead. So the point is, still people may be using. Means you are not using. It doesn't mean that nobody uses, because current Windows version is Windows 11. In your computers, you may be having still Windows 10 or Windows 8. If I ask why you don't update to new version, then you will ask, why should I update? You will say that you have new features. He will say that I don't want them. I don't want those new features. I'm okay with the features I'm using. In that case, now the problem on internet is current, which version of HTML we are using? HTML5. We call it as latest version. Suppose we are using React. React is 18. It is latest version. Angular is 15. It is latest version. But when you go to companies, while learning, you will learn latest version. When you go to companies, they say that React 18, we are using React 14. And that is IBM, in Pro, Infosys, TCS. You say, I learned Java 11 or 10. They will say, Java 11. Why are still using 8 only? And they are MNCs. And they are doing high-level projects. And they are not using the latest version. And after all, you learner learned the latest version. You will learn, obviously. Why? Because you want to know the latest concepts. But company cannot adapt the latest versions immediately. 100% no chance. That means any software you will face the same issue. You say, I learned latest version, and he will say, we don't want that. We need this version old because our project is this. Companies will not update to every latest version. Companies will start project on a version, they stick to that until the project is finished and delivered. And if client wants to update to the new, then they will upgrade. That means the point here, you may be using or learning latest version and writing programs in latest. You may be using latest features, but some people cannot use them. Their browsers will fail. Your website is not reachable to them. Your functionalities will not work. Then your website fails. If your website is unable to reach all kind of browsers and environments, that is a failure. That means you cannot say that my website is only for these high level people. Then nobody will use your website. Your website should able to reach any device. It should able to reach any browser. It is a old version browser also. Now the problem with modern JavaScript, it cannot properly run on old version browsers. Then what developers will do is actually, so developer can target old new JavaScript code to the legacy browsers by enclosing the code in HTML comments. By enclosing the code in HTML comments. That is very, very important. You will not see this anywhere in any tutorials, anybody telling you, or you will not see this anybody regularly practicing in development. You will see this from very extreme experts in the technology. So people who are in 20-25 years in software development and they are working on development, you will see such people are still writing this technique. You will not see the recent modern people writing this kind of logic, but you will see this from very extreme experts in the technology. Why? Because they know that our websites may be targeted on old version browsers sometimes, then how they will perform. This is a concern and you can handle that by using this. That means, see here, this is the code. Suppose I'm using the code, I'm writing the code. This is the code. And actually this code, the function print page, this code is written like this. But I'm writing this code in HTML comments. You know HTML comments, exclamation, and this is HTML comment. That is a HTML comment. In HTML, comments are written like this. In HTML, comments are defined like this. And here what we do is, that is HTML comment. In that HTML, that means in HTML body you want to write a comment, you usually write like this. That means this is body section, something like this. These are HTML comments, and I am using this HTML comment in JavaScript code. And we are writing the function here. We are writing the function here. We are writing the function here. And we are writing here some use strict also. We are defining use strict also, starting with use strict. And it is in HTML comments you have enclosed that. And you see here, we are running this. I click on print button. It is still working. Now you will never see this kind of logic written by the modern JavaScript learners. That means freshers, 3, 4, 5 years experience people, they even don't know this. They even don't know this. That means even for experienced people who says experience, right? He says, I am working in web development. I am a front-end developer from 8 years, 10 years. and I will ask the question, how you target JavaScript to legacy browsers? I never saw anybody answer this question. I never saw personally anybody answered this question. And he called himself as 10 years developer, 5 years developer. And he don't know this. He don't know this. That means, because the point is, this is not regularly practiced now. Because now these days websites, what they are doing, they are saying that our website is best suitable on these browsers. They mention that. But early browsers, so cannot, that means early browsers can't use their website. But very experienced, extreme experts, they know that even I mentioned this, many people are still not using these versions. In that case, how do I target my JavaScript to the old version browsers? Then this is the technique, how do we write? This is the technique, how do we define? That means now what your JavaScript engine will do. JavaScript engine will translate the high level code into the old concept and it will make it understandable. For example, suppose in JavaScript you written 2**3. This is modern. Modern browser can understand. Modern browser can understand. Old browsers can't understand. They can't understand because this ** is a new operator. It is a new operator in JavaScript and old browsers don't understand this. Then if you write like this, legacy, then what old version browsers will do is they will translate this modern, it will translate this modern code into the old code. Do you know old code is math.pow and 2,3 like this we write. That means this is the code target for which version browsers. These are targeted for which version? Legacy. Modern browsers can understand this, but legacy browsers can't understand. Then it need to be translated into old. In old, we have a solution for that, but it's a lengthy process. That means it need to be translated. That can be done if you target to legacy. Otherwise, it will simply say that I don't know this **. What is this **? I don't know this ** because I'm old version. I don't know your new things. So this is the reason you need to understand how to target the code for legacy browsers. So this is one very important, because if somebody says, I am 10 years experienced software developer, and I know JavaScript, front-end development and all, then what questions I should ask to him? I have so many extreme in-depth questions that he may not answer. Right? Such questions, this is one. Right? How do you target legacy? Right? So there are so many architecturally such questions you will come across now. So how do we write the code? We need a /JavaScript, that is the MIME type of script, and here we need to put a HTML comment, and in HTML comment you are writing use strict, and after that you write your functionality, whatever you want you can define. After writing the functionality, so you need to end, so you need to end that, right? You need to end. That is how we need to end. This is how we need to end and close the script. This is how we need to target JavaScript to legacy browsers. Legacy browsers. These are all important things you need to know. So JavaScript, how to put JavaScript in the page. And if you put JavaScript in embedded technique, then there are so many things more you need to know. So what is the MIME type? What is the strict mode? How to configure it? And what is legacy? How to target the legacy browsers? That is important. So these are two techniques, how to write JavaScript inline and how to write JavaScript embedded. So what is issue in embedded? The issue in embedded, JavaScript embedded, what is the issue in embedded technique is, it is little slow when compared to inline, because inline is internally configured, it will execute fast. Embedded is slow, but not only that, what is problem with embedded is, issue with the embedded technique. Issue with embedded technique is, so first one is, it is slow. It is slow. Another second point is you cannot reuse across pages. You cannot reuse across pages. That means same functionality I want in another page, then you return the functionality in a page. In a head section you kept it, or in body section you kept it. How you will use this in another page? That means in another page also I want the same functionality. Then how? For example, this is which page? Index. And I will go to demo page. This is another page, demo. In this also there is a button called print. I want to use that function. How to use? The script that is present in embedded in a page is not accessible here. But sometimes we want functionality across multiple pages. Then you cannot do that. So what is problem with embedded? Embedded is not accessible to other pages. It is embedded to that page. It is accessible only in that page. It is not accessible to other pages. Embedded is not accessible to other pages. That is the problem with embedded. Now, what is the solution for this? The solution is, so you can configure JavaScript in external file. You can configure JavaScript in external file. This is the third technique. So in how many ways you can define JavaScript? 3. One inline, another embedded, another one external. What is external file? Is nothing but JavaScript functions. Functions are written in a separate script file with extension .js. In a separate script file with extension .js. And what you can do is, that means what you can do is, you can write, so any file, some index.js. And in that file, you can write a function. So what is the function? Print page is the function. And here, what you want the functionality? Functionality is some. So window.what print. Window.print. That is the functionality. That is the functionality. That means now you need to configure this. You need to configure this. So after writing the code, and here same concept. If you want strict mode, then means you can start with what? Use strict. You can define use strict. You want to target to legacy, then you can target here also legacy. Understood? These are all possible. So that means script is separately maintained in a file. It is separately maintained in a file. What is advantage of this is, you can link this to any page you want. You can access from any page you want. That means JavaScript functions are maintained in a separate strict script file. And you can link the script file to any HTML page by using script element. How do you do that? So in any HTML page you want, you have to use what? Script. Script type is what? Text JavaScript. And from where the script is coming? From where the script is coming, you have to mention SRC. Source. Source is coming from where? Source is coming from index.js. Now you don't need to write the script. The script is coming from that file. The path from where the file is coming. What is good? What is bad? In this technique, what is good? Good is here. What is good? What are the features? What is good is, so what are the features? Features are nothing but clean separation. Clean separation of code and design. Earlier, what happens is your code is mixed with design. That means design page, code page, everything at one place. It is difficult. That means it is hard to test and it is hard to extend. Extending the logic and making modification in the logic and testing the logic separately is difficult because you integrated it with design. If you kept with the design, then separating from the design, testing it separately, extending it separately becomes an issue. That is the reason. So these are not features. These are all what? Drawbacks, right? So means these are the features which you can manage by using which one? Index. So hard to test if it is what? Embedded. So now it is easy. It is easy when you are dealing with inline. It is hard to extend if it is embedded. Now it becomes easy. These are all the features. That means separation, easy to test and easy to extend. That embedded, it is difficult. Now this is one of the major feature. Now what is the drawback? That means what is the issue? What is the problem in this technique? Because nobody can ask you which one is best. Nobody can ask you which one is best. Why nobody can ask which one is best? Because if any one is best, why others are there? If any one technique is best, why other techniques are also working? If one is best, others are not best, then the technology should have disabled others. That means the technology should have disabled inline. It should have disabled embedded. If it is best, it is also having issues. What is the problem with this? What is the problem with this? The problem is nothing but, what is the issue is using an external file for HTML page will increase the number of requests. It will increase the number of requests. And as a web developer, you know that if number of requests are increased for page, then page load time will increase. That is a very common thing. Every software web developer knows that. In his brain, he keeps this every time when he's designing a website, that don't design a page with multiple requests. As much as possible, avoid. If your page is having multiple requests, then it will increase the page load time. That means using external file will always increase the page load time. 100%. So unnecessarily, we will not use external files. Because using external files will increase the page load time. It becomes slow. So that is one of the major drawback while working with external files. So let's see how to use that. So I will go to the project here. So I will remove the code from here. I am removing the code from here and I will keep that code in a separate file. All dynamic logic keep always in SRC folder as per the tradition. So dynamic CSS, SAS, JavaScript, TypeScript, everything put in this SRC. So go to SRC. In SRC, I will create a separate folder by name scripts. I will create another folder in SRC by name styles like this. CSS I will keep in styles and JavaScript I will keep in scripts. Let's go to the scripts folder and add a new file, some index.js. You can give any name. In that I keep this logic. That means whatever logic you kept earlier in embedded, the same you kept now inside this function, inside the file. Now here, when you are writing this, you can see now here, it is showing some message, any expression expected. It is related to TS, TypeScript. We don't worry about that because this is not TypeScript, this is JavaScript. Why it shows that error, I will tell you in the next module system you will learn. Initially, this is fine. Now, don't worry about these red marks because we will verify is there any error not here. We will verify if there is any error in the browser because our HTML executes JavaScript in the browser. So what we do now, go to index and here you see in currently index, it is not working because that script is not linked. How to script the link? Link it SRC. In SRC, where it is present, it is not present here. It is present in a folder called to invoke the current folder /, you know these paths. And in that, which one? SRC. In SRC, what? Scripts. In scripts, what is it? Index.js. We are linking that. Now, once you link this and you see now print, that means it is working fine. This time JavaScript is coming from external file. And JavaScript from external file will increase the number of requests. You can see now, actually, when you go to inspect, you are going to inspect here. In the inspect, go to network category. Go to the network category. After going to the network category, once refresh the page. Now the page is refreshed. And you can see that in this page, actually, you can observe in the page, you can see the number of requests. It is showing the number of requests are 3. Actually, one request is index HTML. Another request is this JS. Third request is WS is not required for you. This is actually WebSocket. WebSocket is there everywhere. For example, do you know in your mobiles? So when anybody sends a message to you, any app sends a message to you, that message pops up. You don't open and refresh every time. Am I right? That means how you get notifications in your mobile. That is because of WebSocket. WebSocket is used for pushing the notifications to you. There is a concept of WebSocket working behind. That means here in browser, what WebSocket is doing is, suppose what I am doing here, you observe carefully. I will go to the source code and here I am doing some modification. JavaScript here, I am writing external file. I done some modification in this page. After that, I saved it. After I saved the modification, I need to go to browser and refresh the page because I need to see what new modifications have been done. But I don't need to save the page, refresh the page. You see, when I go to browser, that modification is updated. Without refreshing, how it is updated? So without reloading the page, how new details are sent to this page? That is done by using WebSockets. So WebSocket is related to server. What this will do is it will push updates to the browser, whatever happening. So this is not your part. This is not related to your page. This is related to server actually. Your page related requests, how many? 2. If number of requests are increasing, here see the page load time. How much time it is? 147 milliseconds it taken to load. 147 milliseconds it taken to load. Okay. Now let's remove this code from here. 147 milliseconds it taken. Now remove this external file. I am removing the external file and I am keeping the code embedded. I am keeping the code embedded here like this. I am keeping the code embedded. So there is no external file now. That means now what happens here is I will refresh this now. You can see here it is 87 milliseconds. And you see number of requests reduced now. Previously it was 3 requests. Now it is only 2. If number of requests are reduced, then page load time will improve. If number of requests are increased, page load time will increase. So unnecessarily, we will not use external files. When you need some script to be used across pages, then better go with external. If you want a script only for that page, then better go embed. If you want only for that element, better go inline. Only when you want across pages, then you have to use what? External. External. Unnecessarily, don't use external. Right? That is one important point. So this is the technique you need to follow. This is an example. In this example, I remove this again. And I keep here SRC. SRC is, it is in SRC. In that it is scripts. So scripts, in the scripts we have index.js. That's how we define. Now you can see that is working fine, and you can refresh here. It is okay. It is external file working. So technically, how do we use JavaScript? This is the example I will give. This is the code index.js. You keep in SRC. So that is scripts folder. And after that, your index.html. The HTML will have this logic. That is how we can configure the scripts. Script inline, script embedded, and a script in external file. Now, when you are using external file, MIME type is same, legacy concept is same, right? Strict mode is same. They are same concepts. That means you have to write legacy, you have to write strict mode, and you have to define the MIME type. All these are same, but one extra feature is there. When you are using external files, one extra concept is we call as minification. One extra concept is minification. This is not possible if you are writing embedded or inline. Minification is very, very important, and it is mandatory. In JavaScript CSS in real world environment, without minification, we don't do. In real world projects, 100 to 100%, you should use minification. There is no project in the world of JavaScript web development which uses CSS and JavaScript without minification. So minification is not just JavaScript, it is related to CSS also. What is minification? If you know CSS, you already know that actually. Minification is nothing but it is a coding technique used by developers. It is a coding technique used by developers to reduce the size of file. It is a coding technique used by developers to reduce the size of file. That means you can say that to compress the file. Compress. Why? Because actually, generally, when you are writing code, you can see I am writing the code in index.js. Here, there are only 6 lines. Only 6 lines code is there. Let's see how much space it occupies. I will open in Explorer. And here I will right click on the file and the properties. And it is 67 bytes. That means 6 lines code is 67 bytes. It's too much. Why? Because 67 bytes is too much. After all, 6 lines only there. In real world, minimum 10,000, 20,000 lines will be there in one script file in general real world programming. If you see Bootstrap, if you see JS files, minimum 10,000, 20,000 lines code will be there. Then it will be in MB. MB means it is too much for a web page, right? Because every MB you have to purchase. I think you know that in domain space, 1 MB, one file, 1 MB, it is too much, right? Then how we can handle scripts and CSS with so much complex? So generally what we do is, if anybody asks how to reduce the file size, then you will get an answer that compress. Compress means zip or rar. But these zip rar agents cannot be used in your web designing. That means zipped files cannot compile. Then how you will reduce the size? So for that, developers follow coding techniques. Coding technique is nothing but, for example, that's a very basic thing. Coding technique is, suppose I am writing if condition. And if the condition is true, statement true. And else statement false. This is a general programming logic. But what an experienced developer will do, he can write like this. He can write a condition and statement on true and statement on false. Same work. That means you written in 7-8 lines. This will be done in just 1 line. Both are same. I hope you know. These are called ternary operators. That's equal to if condition you written. That means 8 lines logic is now compressed into 1 line. That will save the space. That means minification is a coding technique where developer can write all shorthand techniques, and he can reduce the length of the code and reduce the length of the file and the space. But asking a developer to write 10, 20,000 lines code in shortcut technique is too much. That means he can't guess every shortcut easily. It will take time. So then for that, we don't ask developers to write this manually. Generally for that, we have lot of minification tools. These minification tools will compress the code for you and will give the compressed code to you. So in general software companies, lot of minification tools are integrated. They will use them. Just by using those tools, they can handle. Lot of minification tools are there. But you can try. You don't need to download. You can online. There are so many free tools. Suppose JS minifier. So JavaScript minifier. JS minifier. Yeah. This is JavaScript minifier. This is a JavaScript minifier. You just Google hundreds of Websites will be there, online free websites. Depending on website, some websites will say that upload your file. Some websites will say that copy your code, right? Depending on. So many minifiers will be there. You can see lot of minifiers. This is a JavaScript minifier. And you go to that minifier software, and what you have to do is, just what you need to do here is copy your original JavaScript code. Let's copy our original JavaScript code. This is our original JavaScript code. We will copy that original JavaScript code here. After that, we will click on minify. When I click on minify, so it says that don't use these commented lines and all, because this tool is automatically handling that. You don't need that. You click on minify and you can see it will give you the minified code. It will give you the minified code. Thousands of lines you write and it will give the minified code. That means it will think what is necessary, what is not necessary. For example, you know that generally in JavaScript, semicolon at the end of the line is not compulsory. You can ignore that. In some situations you need them, in some situations you don't need that. You can ignore the semicolons, you can remove unnecessary blank space, you can shorten the lengthy logic. That means lengthy words developer is giving, it will shorten them into small characters. These all things. So now I copy this minified code, and what we do is we will go to our project. And in our project, we will add another file, a new file, index.min.js. That is how we create a minified file. Some softwares are not like this. Some softwares, you upload your original JavaScript file, it will download a minified file. Min is not extension. Min is just only to tell that it is minified. Extension is JavaScript only, JS. Min is not extension. It is your own suffix. You can give any name you want, but just to tell the developers that it is minified, right? So now when you minified, copy the minified code here and link the minified file to your page now, not the original file. That means we are not linking the original file. Remove it. And if I am not linking the original file, it's not working currently. Now what I will do, I will link src in that scripts, in that minified file we will link. When you link the minified file, now you can see that now it is again working fine. And now you can check the code here. You can check here minified file is there. In this minified file, right click and see the properties. It is occupying 49 bytes. It was 67 bytes. That means the original file is 67 bytes and it is occupying 49 bytes. So it is 67 bytes original. Now the size reduced. The size is reduced for this. This is called minification. While using CSS, while using JavaScript, in real world projects, a developer is given with 2 files. Now, why 2 files is given to a developer? That means when you are developing any project, the 2 files are given to you. They give 2 files to you. Why the 2 files? That means minified files. Minified files are used in production. And unminified or uncompressed. Unminified files. So minified files are used in development. They are used in development. Minified files are used in production. Unminified files are used in development. That means a software developer is given with 2 files. Developer have 2 files with him. Which one have to be used in which situation, he will have to decide. You download any JavaScript library, they will have both files. They will have both files. Why they give both files to you? One is enough actually. Because why both files are required? Because these minified files are not good for development. Why they are not good for development? Because you are a developer, you are writing logic and some error came. Generally, developer needs to know the error line, in which line error came. Knowing error is okay. In which line error came, if he knows, he can go and easily correct. And it is a compressed code and there is no lines. Then how? And tracking the error and bugging it is difficult. So developers will never directly use the minified files. They will write all the logic using unminified files. After that, once development finish, finally they need to publish the website. It has to go live. In go live environment, they will remove the original files and keep the minified. Because minified files are reduced in size. So developers have to work with two types of files in any environment. It is not only here, CSS anywhere. For example, you go to any library here. That means suppose we have get bootstrap. It will give you some JavaScript library. Go to download of get bootstrap. It will say that so compiled files, and it will show you here. These are all the files. And you can observe here, it will give you a concept. So you can observe here, it says that compiled and minified file. You can see they are giving a min file. Min file for CSS, min file for JavaScript. That is because it is ready for development. It is ready for publishing. If you want to use unminified files, then you have to download these original files, source files. Then you will get an unminified file. Actually, if you install any library, you will get that. I will show you roughly here. In our project, we are not installing any library. Let me install a library just roughly for you. I will show you here. So npm install some bootstrap I am installing. I'm installing a bootstrap library for this project, and you can see that. So bootstrap library is installed in the project. You can see this is node modules. In the node modules, you have a bootstrap. In the bootstrap, you see JavaScript files, and you will find the JavaScript files here. They will give you this JS. Yeah, you can see they will give you both files. Bootstrap JS file, bootstrap min.js file. Why both files are given to a developer? Because in development, he will use the original file. In production, he will use the minified. That means while developing, he will keep the link to JS file, original. And because he need to know the problems. And while publishing, when it is going live, then he will use which files? Minified files. That is what actually minification is. So actually, this is not a new concept to anybody who learns CSS, because in CSS already he knows minification. Same concept JavaScript also does, right? So what is minification and why you need minified files? And this is not possible for embedded or not possible for inline. It is only when you are doing what? External file. When you are dealing with external file, this is minification. So what you have to do is, example is nothing but visit any minification site. So we have so many sites. For example, this is a Topal minifier. Yeah. This is a CSS minifier. This is JavaScript minifier. Yeah. I'll just give you that URL. You can try this actually. So this is a minification site. You can try this. And here you copy your actual JS code. So, and so minify, you have to paste your JS code and you have to minify and then copy minified code. After that, create a new file called what is it, index.min.js, and in that you have to paste the code. So that is minified code, and you link the minified file to page. That is the process you have to follow. And actually some companies use separate minification softwares. In those softwares, what you can do is you upload your files, it will compress and download those minified files. Automatically it will do that. Suppose in my computer, I have any software like that. Yeah, this is a software actually. This is a software for minification. I have a small software for minification. Actually, it is called Smallify. What I can do is in this software, I can drop entire folder. That means that script folder. In that hundreds of script files are there. It will minify all files and give it to me. That means not one file or one logic, every file in that folder, it will minify. Depends on software. Some softwares will ask upload file. Some software will ask only code. Some software will ask entire folder. And you just put entire folder, it will minify and give it to you. There will be so many softwares you can download, right? This is minification. Another very important while working with JavaScript, another concept is bundling. This is very, very major and very high level concept to understand for developers, because bundling means without linking the JavaScript file, how to use it. Without linking JavaScript file, how you will use it. Because linking the files is always lengthy process, because it is not one file. So in a web page, you have to link 10-20 script files sometimes. So library means lot of script files will come. Then we have a concept called bundling. By using this bundling concept, without linking any file to your HTML page, you can use the code from those files. That is the specialty of bundling. And for that, you need some special softwares and you need to learn very in-depth about them. Like Webpack is a bundling software. Like Parcel is a bundling software. Webpack, Parcel are very popular bundling softwares. By using these, what you can do is you can create a project in such a way that, so you just mention which file to be used by your page. It will use that file without linking the files. That's how in real world we do. In real world, we never link the files directly every time. We create a project with bundling. And very popular softwares for bundling, we have Webpack. This is Webpack. This is Webpack. It is a very popular bundler. It is used for bundling scripts, bundle styles, bundle images and other resources for projects. And you have another one like Parcel. This is Parcel. This is also used for bundling. These are popular tools. And if you can try these and if you can use this, that's very good. That means now at high professional level building of apps, we use this mechanism. Obviously, technologies like Angular, React, Vue, these all technologies use this. They will never directly link any file to page. They will never link any file to page, but they will be using the code from that file. And how this is possible? By using bundling concept. And this is a huge concept that we'll see tomorrow. right? In tomorrow's session, we will discuss about how bundling works. Means how to create a professional project. So where you can set the configurations without linking the files, you can use their logic. That is important. That you can do in the next session. We will discuss about Webpack. So one is enough. If you know about Webpack, you can handle others. So that we will see in tomorrow's session. Right, in tomorrow's session, we will discuss about how to use this Webpack and how do we work with the Webpack. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue then, right? Yeah. Saturday. So we have. Huh?